By now, you've probably seen the way that the iPhone 17s are going to look. You've got the new ultra slim Air model and the updated Pro units that have a much bigger camera bump. But today, instead of focusing on the design, I want to go over all of the new feature rumors for the iPhone 17 lineup, because there is quite a lot that Apple has been working on, including some stuff I thought we would never see on the iPhone. Okay, let's start off on the iPhone 17 Pros, and then we'll jump over to the Airs because there's some weird stuff happening there. You might have seen by now a lot of renders for the 17 Pros that show this new cutout that sits below the camera bar. It looks like this rounded rectangle that sits inside of the aluminum frame, but the weird part is that this has not been universally reported. Some engineering documents have shown no cutout at all, like a standard iPhone that we've seen for years, and others absolutely reiterate time and time again that Apple is doing this cutout. But what would this cutout be for? Is Apple just putting a cutout here because to make it look different? I don't think so. I think this could be Apple confirming that they are working on reverse wireless charging for the iPhone, which is a feature I have wanted to see for years. Reverse wireless charging would allow you to turn your iPhone into a wireless Qi charging mat where you could place devices on the back and charge them up whenever. But it sounds like this feature wouldn't just be limited to iPhones that you could wirelessly charge. Apple would also likely introduce it for all of their other MagSafe products like AirPods, where if you were going to the gym and you ran out of battery for 5 minutes, you could set it on your iPhone and then be able to use your AirPods without a problem. Personally, I could see myself using this all the time, and I think with iPhone users that are always running out of battery, this would be a big hit. Next up, we've known that Apple putting a larger camera bump on the 17 Pro is going to add some pretty big features below the surface, and now those are finally starting to materialize. According to one new leak, the iPhone 17 Pro could be Apple's first device capable of recording 8K video, which would be a pretty significant quality jump over the 4K that we currently have. And to be fair, it's not the first time that we have heard about 8K video on the iPhone. A rumor from about a year ago said it was coming to the iPhone 16 Pros, and it didn't end up making the cut, so perhaps it just got pushed back a year. And as Apple has been on a pretty crazy run of Pro video features year after year after year, 8K video would not be all that much of a surprise. Now, while 8K video would be exclusive to only the rear lens, Apple is also working on a new feature for the 17 Pros that ties both the rear and the front-facing cameras together. As according to a new leak inside of the camera app for the first time, you will be able to record both rear-facing video and front-facing video simultaneously, almost as in a vlog style where you can record your face and what's behind you, as well as capturing exactly what's in front of you dually. Honestly, I have no idea why Apple is adding this now. Maybe because streaming has become so popular, Apple wants to give content creators a way to share everything around them all at once directly from the camera app. And funny enough, this is apparently supposed to be exclusive to the Pros, so you'll only be able to do this on Apple's most expensive models and not the other iPhone 17s, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but perhaps it ties into the fact that Apple is redesigning the camera bar and they're trying to pack in more exclusive Pro features just for those models. Or maybe it has something to do with the new A19 Pro chip that will only be available in the Pro iPhones. It'll definitely add Apple's latest privacy and security improvements, which is why I partnered up with Incogni, who sponsored today's video. For years, I thought that just using the iPhone was enough to prevent my data from being spread around online, but without me even knowing, these evil people known as data brokers were collecting stuff about me and then selling it to third parties and making money off of myself and my data. Now, luckily, it's your right to stop this from happening, but there's so many different data brokers out there and always new ones popping up that it's pretty much impossible to do alone. And that's where Incogni comes in. See, on your behalf, they're an automated service that reaches out to all of these data brokers and gives you a detailed dashboard showing you all the requests in progress, completed, and the ones they've just sent out, as it's a continual service, so they're always looking for new bad actors. So take your personal data back with Incogni. Use code AppleTrack at the link below to save 60% off an annual plan at incogni.com/AppleTrack. A huge thank you to them for sponsoring this one. I love them. Now let's get back to it. Of course, the iPhone 17 Pro will still remain to be Apple's most powerful top-tier option, but what if you're just looking for something different? What if you want the most phone you can get in an ultra-thin design? Because recently there has been a major leak that has pretty much told us exactly what to expect for this product, and unfortunately, not a lot of it is great news. Obviously, we knew a phone this thin at just 5.5 millimeters would have some big compromises, but the question was always how many and how bad is it going to be? As of right now, we've heard about 5 places that Apple is making cuts. First of all, the single camera on the back. This is absolutely confirmed. It is only going to be a solitary 48 megapixel sensor, no dual or triple camera setup. Second, the phone is just too thin to fit a physical SIM tray. So in all markets around the world, even in China, it is going to be an eSIM only device, which which is incredibly controversial as many markets outside of America do not really have the infrastructure for eSIM developed. Third, there will only be a single speaker on the device, and it sounds like it could be housed in the earpiece at the top. So rather than the stereo sound that we've had, I think since the iPhone 7, we're reverting back to only one speaker at the very top, which means that the sound quality on this phone, I am guessing, is going to be abysmal. Fourth, it's a small one, but the USB-C port will be slightly off-center at the bottom of the phone. This is to give room for all of the screen and circuitry, so it sits a little bit closer to the back than the front on the Y-axis. And number 5, the big one by far, I think the number one reason people are going to skip this phone is the battery life. For a while, I was holding out hope that Apple had found a good solution. According to this new report, they have found a solution, but I wouldn't use the word good to describe it. See, right now, according to Apple's internal testing, only 60 to 70% of iPhone 17 Air buyers will be able to get through an entire day without connecting it to a charger. And this is a lot lower than Apple's normal 80 to 90% target benchmark. They want 80 to 90% of users to be able to get through an entire day. The iPhone Air is 10 to 20% lower than that number. So what does Apple do to fix this? How does Apple make the battery in a phone this thin even better? According to this leak, the answer is a battery case. Yes, Apple's solution to the iPhone Air not being able to get through a day is going to be an optional add-on accessory that packs in more battery cells into a case that you can then put on and wrap around the phone. And that doesn't make any sense to me for one big reason, because although it will solve the problem of poor battery life on this device, it is not going to make the phone ultra thin. The case with battery material packed inside will be substantially thicker, if not twice as thick as the phone itself. You can see this evidence in previous battery cases that Apple has done, like for the iPhone XS. They added a battery inside, and you can literally see this huge hump sticking out of the back. I just can't imagine that looking good on an ultra slim iPhone. Unfortunately, this rumor has just confirmed my worst fears about the Air, that the battery is going to be awful, and I think at some point Apple's just running up against the laws of physics. There's only so much room for a battery, and that answer is that there's not much room. To be clear, I don't know if there's a better solution out there than a battery case. I just think it's funny that Apple's solution for their ultra thin phone with bad battery is making the phone thicker with a case, which is what you could just get in an iPhone Pro. But I'm still so fascinated by all of this, and I cannot wait to see this device for myself. I've also been really curious about how Apple handles AI on the iPhone 17 and their extended rollout of Apple Intelligence, as this was their entire marketing pitch for the current iPhone 16 generation, and one that has completely fallen flat. Well, according to a bunch of recent rumors, Apple's not taking a step back this year. They're making the 17s even better and more capable for Apple Intelligence. They are increasing the baseline RAM across the entire lineup in every single model to 12 gigabytes now, which is substantially more than the 8 gigabytes that is currently standard. We've seen some reporting suggest that 8 gigabytes might not be enough for all of the AI features that Apple wants to add to the iPhone moving forward, and that's why Apple is racing to correct it on this generation. And it is notable that they are doing this on every model. It's not like the 17 Pros would be better for AI than the base 17 and the 17 Air. Apple has made it crystal clear. Their view on AI is that these tools are important. They want this to be available to as many users as possible, so they're not going to segment it by cheaper and more expensive phones. You're getting the best version of Apple Intelligence across all of the iPhone 17. Now we just have to wait and see if they can make Apple Intelligence good this time around. And I think we might be waiting a while. Also, speaking of features coming to all iPhone 17s, I was really looking forward to Apple's new anti-reflective coating that they were said to be applying to all of the displays in the lineup. Not only was this said to make the iPhone significantly less reflective, as you can clearly see in this image right here, where you have a phone with the coating and the iPhone without, it was also going to greatly improve the durability for scratches in particular. This year, Apple was supposed to fix that, but it turns out that it is not going to be happening. While they were working on mass production, they found out that they just couldn't apply the coating to as many millions of phones in quick succession that they needed to. So ultimately, it has been postponed probably until next year, where Apple can figure out how to produce this reliably and accurately across like 100 million devices. Even so, this has not stopped Apple from likely increasing the prices of specifically the Pro models this year. Now, I know we've talked about price increases in the past. I have talked about them year in, year out since 2017, and they have never happened for almost almost a decade, the Pro iPhone has started at the same $999. However, if you've been paying attention to the world this year, things are a little different. Tim Cook has gone on the record to say that the impact of tariffs will cost Apple almost $1 billion, and that is obviously not something that they want. So according to a new report, Apple has a plan. They're going to raise the prices of just the Pro iPhones, maybe by $100 or $200 each, to help offset the cost of these increases. But funny enough, Apple is said to not attribute this to tariffs publicly. Like, this is obviously the reason that they're doing it, but they're likely going to increase base storage or market some feature as being the reason they needed to increase prices now versus in the past. Even though we'll all know the truth, according to this report, is it's just their cost of basis went up, so they're raising the price to everybody else to offset that. Very interesting way to end this video, and it is something I believe is happening. I think the Pro phones are getting more expensive. I would absolutely count on that. Regardless, I'm more excited than ever for this year, and in just about 4 months, the iPhone 17 is going to be in our hands. So make sure to subscribe in case you haven't already. It helps me and the channel out. Drop a like if you enjoyed this or you learned something new. I've been Sam. I hope you're doing well, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.